Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am on here documenting my journey learning Spanish with Dreaming Spanish. But today's a little different. I really wanted to just touch on some things that if you're a beginner, I think you should know. Or maybe you just found out about Dreaming Spanish. These are the things I think you should know. I hope they're helpful to you. Let's just get right into it. I think we have a lot of ground to cover. Number one, the first thing I have on my list is to do your research, which if you're watching this video, props to you. You're already ahead of the game. The Dreaming Spanish method is very different than probably what you're used to and also what you're expecting. A really good way to do your research is visiting the Dreaming Spanish website. They have an FAQ section with every question you could ever think of. And also they have a section on their website talking about the method of comprehensible input. It is a lot of reading. There's so much information, but it's super helpful. And I highly recommend you read through it and get to know what you're getting yourself into. And another way that you can find out more about the method is going to the Dreaming Spanish YouTube channel. And if you go under playlists, there is a playlist called How to Learn a Language. It's Pablo sitting in the park talking in Spanish, but there are English subtitles. If you watch like the first 3 videos, that would be a really good start on what you're kind of getting into and understanding how to use this method. And just a little nugget, I am able to watch those videos in Spanish without English subtitles now. So the next thing I have on my list is become convinced that the method works. So this might sound a little bit strange, but I think it's really important that as you're starting this journey, you have a picture in your mind of the time that you will be speaking Spanish and you will learn Spanish and this will work. If you're like me, who tried to learn Spanish before and failed, maybe multiple times, so that can also hinder us a little bit, I think. As you're starting out, I totally recommend not only doing your research, but also looking up testimonial videos of people further along in the method. So people at 300 hours, 500 hours, 1,000 hours, 1,500 hours of input. Watch their update videos on YouTube, how they're going. Some even have videos of them speaking with natives. Highly recommend this. Kind of get a feel for, okay, this method is really working. And although maybe I have failed at other methods, this one can work for me, and I believe that this can work for me. This journey, learning Spanish through comprehensible input, is unlike other learning methods. And so the way that you measure your progress is very different. It doesn't feel linear. Some days you're like, am I learning Spanish at all? How could this possibly be working? Especially if you are more of a skeptical person, I really recommend doing a ton of research, watching a ton of videos of testimonials, and even look up on the Reddit page for people giving their 1,500 hour update and things like that. It'll really help you. I think it's important to do this so that you don't give up on the method because you have a bad day or you feel like it's not working. So I will leave some channels down below. Really great update videos, really great progress reports that will really encourage you. My next tip is pretty much a non-negotiable. Please just trust me on this. Get into community. More specifically, join the Dreaming Spanish subreddit. I'm serious. Maybe you've never used Reddit before in your life. Well, go download Reddit, make an account just to join the Dreaming Spanish Reddit page. I go on the Reddit page almost every day, probably too much, okay? And you just see people who are also learning Spanish with this method. They know things that no one else would know. You just get to relate to them, laugh with them, read their testimonials. We get to talk about videos that we like, everything. Pablo's even on there. There's also a Discord, but I don't really know too much about Discord, but there are multiple communities that you can join. It's the best. It's like one of the best parts, honestly, being in this community, seeing people's progress reports, their funny stories, eavesdropping on their coworkers. It's just so fun. So please go and join the Reddit page. Speaking of Reddit, the Reddit search bar will become your BFF. I don't think that people use this enough because I'm often in the Reddit page and I'm finding people are asking the same questions. Like a lot of times there'll be beginners in there that come in and they ask a question that has been asked so many times before or is answered on the Dreaming Spanish website. That won't be you because you're going to do your research. But the Reddit search bar, you can really utilize this. One day you're feeling like you're not understanding the super beginner videos. You're kind of feeling down about it. Go on the Reddit search bar and type in super beginner videos are hard. Most likely someone else has been in the same boat as you, posted in the forum, and people are commenting. And there's just something about feeling like you're not alone, or feeling like, oh, other people have gone through this and I'm going to be fine. Oftentimes people are wondering how to stop translating in your head. I see this in the Reddit like weekly at least. That's a really good thing to also search up in the search bar. I recently was wanting to get into crosstalk, and so I searched up crosstalk in the search bar to just get the rundown. Who's done it? What has it been like? Is it awkward? Where did you find your partner? All the things. You can get so much information without having to go and ask again and wait for people to respond. Okay, my next tip is think about your why and set your goals. To think about, why do you specifically want to learn Spanish? We all have our own reasons. My why was that I want to be able to connect with the locals when I go visit Mexico every year. Eventually, go to other countries and be able to connect in a way that I wouldn't be able to without knowing the language. It was really important for me to do the math of, okay, this is about the time that I would like to at least be conversational and see the benefits of my learning. How many minutes or hours a day will I need to do in order to get to a certain place within a certain time? And I'm just going to say, when you're a super beginner, don't worry about this too much, because your brain is learning something so new and you might not be able to put in a lot of time. And that is totally okay. I have some notes here. Though the roadmap ends at 1,500 hours, based on what I've seen in the Reddit and through my research, a lot of people who have hit 1,500 hours would all agree that 2,000 hours is likely the sweet spot where you feel like you've made it. Although we don't really like to say that around here, but I guess where you could really say, I know Spanish, I feel like I can express myself close to the same way as I would be able to in my mother language. So for what I'm about to share, I did go off of reaching 2,000 hours. If you do 1 hour of input a day, you will reach 2,000 hours, or being fluent, in 5.5 years. 2 hours a day, you'll be there about 3 years. 3 hours a day, 2 years. 4 hours a day, 1.5 years. I do not want that to like scare you off or something. You're not studying for 3 hours a day, or like studying grammar, vocab, all these things. You're watching content and it's interesting, and the higher that you get, you can actually consume content and enjoy it as if you would just be consuming it in English. I just want to put that in there. But I think it's really important for you to do the math and then decide accordingly how much you want to put in per day. On the topic of being a super beginner and getting more input, if you are someone who is like, I want to speed run this or put forth a lot of hours per day in order to get to fluency faster, I'm going to be speaking to you for a second. Put forth effort in order to get through the super beginner and beginner videos faster. If you're doing 15 minutes a day, you are going to be stuck in super beginner forever. The content is going to be boring and you might not even stick with the method. The faster you get through super beginner and beginner, the closer you are to having fun and able to listen to content that is more interesting to you. So a little backstory, if you're new to my channel, I'm currently doing 4 hours a day and I'm at 300 hours. So of course, if you're a super beginner, don't try to do 4 hours a day. I do not recommend that. Been able to see wins and improvements much faster. If someone is doing 15 minutes a day versus someone who's putting an hour or more a day in 1 week, you're going to see your comprehension grow much faster. You're going to be able to see your growth, and it's really exciting. Okay, my next tip is to stay engaged with the content. Get creative if you have to. This especially goes for those watching super beginner videos and beginner. There is something called the beginner slump. When you hit it, you'll know it. That's another thing you can search in the Reddit bar, read other people's tips. The most important thing is watching content that you're interested in so that you can focus on it and just enjoy the content. This becomes a little bit harder when you are kind of deep into the beginner phase and the videos start to be a little bit less interesting to you. Get creative in order to continue getting your inputs. For me, I was putting forth effort to really meet my daily goal and sometimes even go past it to get through the beginner phase quicker. I would sit in bed with my snacks and have like a cozy movie night, grinding out a ton of super beginner or beginner dreaming Spanish videos. I have to add this in here. Some of my tips might be coming from an ADHD perspective. So if you are listening to any of my tips and you're like, that is doing the most, just I think there's a lot of ADHDers. I've seen a lot of you guys on the Reddit, and I don't know if it just has to do something with we like new hobbies and we like to just we get really deep into things. Anyways, if you're having a hard time focusing on the super beginner and beginner videos, do what you need to do to get through them. Keep going so you can get to more enjoyable content. Next up, I will be talking about podcast listening. At 300 hours now, over half of my input for the day comes from podcasts, and I love it. It's the only way I would be able to be getting 4 hours a day. I started introducing podcasts around 50 or 60 hours. A few good ones that you can start with are Cuéntame and Chill Spanish Listening Practice. Cuéntame is a little bit easier than Chill Spanish, so you know. I had tried Cuéntame a few times, and you just know when it's like, okay, this is way too hard. But I just kept trying. You just kind of have to be persistent, maybe wait a few days, still get in your other content, and then try again. Even now, as someone who listens to podcasts, but there's some podcasts that I want to start listening to, but they're a little bit higher up in comprehension level. I'll just keep trying it, and if I'm getting lost, I leave it for a few days or a few weeks, and you come back to it, and eventually you're like, oh wow, I can really understand more and more. If you wait until it's perfect and you can understand everything, you'll be waiting for a really long time. As soon as I started listening to podcasts, my hours went up tremendous. The next thing that I have is a little tip for you to be able to add Dreaming Spanish to your home screen and have it look like an app. One thing I will say about this, make sure you are good about clearing your browsers, because if not, you will have so many browsers open of Dreaming Spanish. Just a little tip. The next thing I have to say is just a little bit of an encouragement. This is your journey and nobody else's. I think because there is so much community with this method, we can compare ourselves to others and think, oh, we have to do this or we can't do this. And yes, if you're trying to do the Dreaming Spanish method as a purist, yeah, maybe stick within certain guidelines. But there are things that I don't do because they weren't working for me, and it's totally okay. One of my last videos, someone had commented they were feeling so relieved because I had told them that I don't watch all the super beginner videos before I feel like I can move up to my intermediate level and then watch all the intermediate videos. I don't do that because we're all different. We all have different interests, and they're just some videos that you're not going to be interested in. It would be weird if you're interested in every single video, and I can't force myself to focus on something I'm not interested in, and therefore I would be wasting my time watching it. I don't watch all the videos. It doesn't work for me, so I don't do that. There's even entire Dreaming Spanish guides that I don't watch their videos. Maybe I'm not vibing with their videos, or who knows, but I don't watch them. I went through a period of not watching certain accents just because I suddenly didn't really like certain accents. You just have to do what works for you. This is your journey, and ultimately, yes, we can stick to the method, but as long as you're moving forward and you're watching content, you're consuming content, you are learning Spanish, period. This also goes for if other people are at a certain level and you're like, well, they could do this at 300 hours, but I don't feel like I can do that. Don't get caught up in the comparison trap. We're all different. Brains are different. Our experiences are different. All in all, you're learning Spanish. You are about to start on an amazing, amazing journey. Truly, this is the best thing that I think I've ever done. I want to encourage you, lean into different topics that you're interested in. You're about to learn so much and expand your knowledge so much while simultaneously learning Spanish. Dreaming Spanish team does an amazing job. Different countries, different topics, different cuisines, you name it. It's kind of been like a little side benefit that I really wasn't expecting. Your love for the world is going to just explode. Seriously, I feel like I suddenly have so much interest in other cultures. It just pushes me even further to want to know the language, to be able to connect with so many amazing people around the world. Final tip, last but not least, the answer to everything is always more input. Through this journey, you will have so many days, hard days, good days, exciting days, embarrassing days. Just know the answer is always more input. When you're struggling, when you're having a hard day, thinking, oh, today I feel like I am not understanding this, or you go up in a new level, suddenly you feel like you're back at square one and you don't know why you can't understand it, or this accent is hard, or answer is just more input. Let that bring you comfort. It's definitely comforted me many, many times because I'm like, I just have to keep moving forward. A whole new thing that your brain is doing as well. Just keep going and you'll be just fine. I'm so happy for you for starting this journey. I hope you stick around. I hope you start your own channel if you feel led to do that. And if you're watching this and you have any other tips or things that have worked for you, please leave them below. Make sure to check the description of this video. I'll try to put resources and just all the things that maybe I missed some things, or just make sure to go check that out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I plan to continue to make update videos and just track my whole journey. And yeah, we're all in this together. That's all I have. I'll see you next time.